the Republic Media Network headquarters. It's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the biggest story, underreported, I believe, given the context and the impact that it has been in the last 2 weeks, the non-stop hoaxes, the bomb hoaxes that have hit, if not almost in certain part, crippled large part of the private airlines industry of this country. All airlines have got hoax calls, Akasa, Indigo, Air India, and there have been a total of 350 plus bomb hoaxes that have hit airlines in a period of just 12 to 14 days, less than 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, over 350 hoaxes, and it's now that the nature of the hoaxes is also extending. We had Lucknow's Taj Hotel, which received a bomb threat, and on Sunday itself there were at least 50 flights which received some form of bomb threats. The ISKCON temple in Tirupati is believed to have also received bomb hoaxes. The question is, why haven't we been able to crack it? Is it that we are not being tough enough? In the case of one of the social media mediums which are being used extensively by people who are carrying out bomb hoaxes, that is X, formerly known as Twitter, we are told right now, and the latest information we have is that dark web is being used to create accounts on Twitter, and accounts created on the dark web are very difficult to track down. The other information which we have, and our reporters have been confirming, is that 90% of the bomb threats have technically originated from the United Kingdom, that is Great Britain. 90% of the VPNs which were used to send the bomb threats have originated from the United Kingdom. Now viewers, these are not just an epidemic of bomb threats. There may be the odd case of a disgruntled person, of an individual, or someone who has an axe to grind, or just quote unquote for the thrill of it, putting out a bomb hoax and risking what happens after that. But I'm convinced that this is something much more organized. The way in which there are technical instruments, dark web, VPNs in the United Kingdom, some VPNs originating out of Germany, which are being used to carry out these hoaxes, and the nature of the hoaxes and the timing of the hoaxes, and the fact, though I'm not linking, that these hoaxes have been supported by some terrorist groups who have been talking about threats to airlines in India in the early part of November, and these terrorists like Gurpanwant Singh Pannu are based in the United States. I get a feeling that there is also an organized sense of anti-India forces who are behind these bomb hoaxes. Perhaps the government is aware of it, but where the government is making a mistake is that it is not coming out with enough information in the public domain about it. That itself, I agree, could be a strategy. But viewers, we must be very careful at this time that nobody assumes these are just a fishnet of bomb hoaxes. Each bomb hoax should be taken seriously. In one case, Republic reported recently that a senior executive in Air India had said, allegedly on a WhatsApp group, had used the word ignore in the context of the bomb threats that were put out on one particular morning. When we raised it, Air India clarified that later he had been overruled by the head of Air India, by the CEO of Air India. That may be the case, but a casual approach cannot be accepted, which is why I'm calling tonight for much more information in the public domain about this. I'm also calling tonight on the debate, and I'm sure I speak for many people, for very unforgiving application of rules in the case of any bomb hoax, for non-bailable provisions to be used so that the people, in case there are any people who are just looking to get into trouble and have some mischief or fun at the expense of the people, that they realize that very, very tough punitive measures await them. So my focus tonight on the start of the debate is what exactly are these bomb hoaxes about. I will have someone who's worked in the National Investigating Agency, a top expert in cyber law, and one of India's leading cyber experts joining me in 2 minutes tonight. That's my first conversation this evening. I'm setting up with that tonight. And at 8:20 this evening on a very fast-paced show, I will be discussing the controversy over this individual, Nawab Malik, as we know, a Dawood Ibrahim-linked politician, earlier with Sharad Pawar, now with Ajit Pawar, how he has become the most controversial figure in the Maharashtra election. And debate 3 tonight is over what is discussed to be a rave party. Was it a rave party, a family meeting, or a Diwali party? The fight between KTR and the Congress party in Telangana. That's my third focus tonight. And debate number 4 this evening, Yogi gets a lot of support from the RSS, and this makes Akhilesh nervous. The batenge to katenge call is getting a counter reaction, which makes it issue number 1. Debate number 5 this evening at 9:30 p.m. Sanatan board versus Waqf board. Is the Sanatan board the need of the hour, or should we dump the whole idea of what has been discussed as extreme powers to the Waqf boards? That's debate number 5. And here are the headlines this Monday evening, the 28th of November, on the debate tonight. 14 days and nearly 400 bomb threats. Republic gets the first specific lead. Top sources reveal that 90% of the VPNs used in these hoaxes originated from the United Kingdom. The Ministry of Home Affairs is holding an emergency meeting with agencies. This is the big international link that Republic is watching and tracking very closely. As Ajit Pawar picks Nawab Malik's daughter to fight from Anushakti Nagar for the Maharashtra elections, the Dawood Ibrahim linked Nawab Malik. The Dawood linked Nawab Malik himself hints that he is joining the race. Question is he going to be doing so with the approval of Ajit Pawar? And in that case, is the BJP going to allow this? A Diwali party or something much darker? Big political war in Telangana after Cyberabad police raid the farmhouse of KT Ramarao's brother-in-law Raj Pakala, seizing not just excess liquor but also arresting one of the guests for cocaine abuse. Was it a Diwali celebration or a drug-fueled night? And it's a war over the call for Hindu unity, but Yogi is getting a lot of support from the RSS. The Samajwadi Party responds with its own counter to batenge ya katenge. They say na batenge, na katenge, but this proves that Yogi Adityanath's call for Hindu unity, using the phrase batenge or katenge, is the number 1 issue in the upcoming by-polls in Uttar Pradesh. With the Waqf land grab exposed, there is a growing demand for an alternative Sanatan board to protect Hindu ancestral lands. That's the big debate and the lead story at 9 o'clock tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, there is a concentrated effort to cause nationwide panic, and the number of bomb hoax calls that have been made, threats to airlines and now to hotels and to temples, in just 14 days, the number of threats received by airlines have crossed the 500 mark. The first specific lead received by Republic points to the fact that most of these threats, which have a VPN, and that VPN is tracked largely and principally to the United Kingdom. Here's the story.
2 weeks on, back-to-back hoax bomb threats. The number has now crossed 400.
Massive lead in the bomb threat messages. The cyber team of the counter-terror division now tracks down the IDs which were using VPNs to send bomb messages to the airline. Now it has been tracked that the 90% of these messages are from abroad and the 80% of them are from UK.
Investigators probing the bomb threat suspect a virtual private network or the potential role of dark web in stirring this nationwide panic. Not only that, Republic's top sources say 90% of the VPNs originate from the United Kingdom. Fresh dark web links have emerged, suggesting that a sinister plot might have been at play. With air traffic a clear marker of a nation's march to progress, it is clear that some forces are targeting India's economic rise. The Ministry of Home Affairs held a meeting with officials from the NIA and other agencies at 5 p.m. today, focusing on the foreign element that has come out in investigations so far. As more and more specific leads emerge in the attempt to create national panic, the big question remains: who is behind the hoax bomb threats?
Let's start the debate by talking to DIG NND Dubey, ex-NIA and BSF. And also with us this evening is Advocate Prashant Mali, who is a specialist in cyber law, and Kanish Gaur, a leading cyber expert. Mr. Dubey, why haven't we been able to crack this? Is this become a bit of a joke? And does this look like an organized effort to sort of impact the system and especially the airlines rather than individuals working here?
Actually, earlier the Hoax call used to be very, very rare Hoax call. And probably there could be many other reasons why few persons, they choose to go for Hoax call. Experience says that many people have been, many reasons in their mind to go for Hoax call. And Hoax call had been hardly factual once the entire checking was done. That was past practice. That is understood because that is the reason why the BCA's law for punitive measures against these type of people have not been so stringent, because it was very rarely used. Now the current frequency, like it's more than 400 Hoax call in a period of 7 days, is really very concerning, and it cannot be ignored, because few weeks back we were seeing the same pattern with the Indian Airlines. So originating all these deep black net from the United Kingdom soil or other countries, it's a matter of concern, and it cannot be coincidence that all of a sudden there is an epidemic of Hoax call and it's happening, because it's directly impacting the sense of security in the airlines. And as you know, aircraft is the most vulnerable and sensitive mode of transport for any person in the world. So what I feel that because of the investigation will tell that how it is being originated from in such a big number from a specific country. Because the history says that there could be organized effort for doing this, because if it is not going to directly impact your national economy, it's going to impact hugely to the airliners. Also, it is going to impact hugely in the sense of security among the mind of the travelers. Because once the aircraft is in air, it is most vulnerable and it is most unsafe. Even a single alpine is pierced inside the aircraft body, it is good enough for the aircraft to go for a disaster. So this is a very serious thing, and numbers are so high that it is compelling us to think of their connectivity across the Indian soil. So now the investigation will tell that exactly who are the people, whether they are organized or it's being done by some vested group. So time will tell that how it is coming to this way, but it's a matter of great concern. And in your next question, I will tell the impact of such things about the entire...
Yeah, I'll just come to that, but before that, now that let's go with the leads that we have, Advocate Mali. We know that most of the VPNs are being used from the United Kingdom. Can the UK help?
These VPNs are most frequently used.
Help in this, because if the IP addresses are found there, see, it could be a case where UK is also made a target, and their call center, their data centers could be used, their IP address could be used. And so the pointer goes to the UK. But using our bilateral treaties, using MLAT, etc., UK can definitely help us to track down the further, where the actual hoax is happening, from where the connections are coming. So it needs a huge international investigation, which UK can definitely help us, and it should help us to crack this, because this is not only a hoax call kind of thing, but this is also a financial terrorism, I feel, because if you see around 5 crores of rupees is spent in one hoax call by our Indian airline, then if you look at 400 calls, that means we have already lost 2,000 crores in just this hoax call business. So it is financial terrorism. It is a simple hoax call which is leading to a huge loss, and somebody has cracked it, or somebody has just did it for mischief and others have built upon it. So it cannot be allowed to build continuously, being built like this. So UK should help us, and I think we should crack this as early as we can.
Yeah, Kanish, the dark web being used, VPN networks being used. I get a feeling this is much more organized and well thought out. I mean, I get the feeling that whoever's behind it has planned this whole strategy out. What's the culpability of X or Twitter?
See, there is a major issue with X or Twitter. They have people who are responsible for following the significant social media intermediary guidelines, and as per it, take down these handles. The handles were not taken down for weeks, despite government giving them the details of these service providers. The handles kept being live, and repeatedly they were being used for economic warfare. This is not just a threat to the airline, this is a threat to national security, and it is economic warfare. If we are talking about 2,000 crore, it is trying to disrupt India's aviation industry in a much larger way.
But why don't we escalate it? I mean, this is something that is impacting us. And Elon Musk is always very, very particular about his own interests. And we are letting him, set up Starlink we are at least, the way the regulatory system is, that he will have an advantage or an opportunity to enter with Starlink. Then why don't we also pressurize him at the highest level to act? Why do we have to be limited to calling some local India representatives of Twitter and giving them a lecture when they are not going to listen? All decisions are taken globally. So what leeway do we have here? What leverage do we have here?
So India had set up the significant social media intermediary guidelines in 2022. As per that,
but Kanish, they don't. They only listen to the headquarters.
Arnab, let me answer. Their chief compliance, their chief legal officers can be put behind bars. We have the law. We have to use it. So far, we have not used that law. Earlier, when Twitter was trying to play hunky-dory, we had put arrest warrants against the CEO of Twitter. Right now is the time we use the significant social media intermediate guidelines and put a notice to them to share all of these details. Right? There is another element that people who are using the Twitter handle might have set up the accounts from certain email service providers.
Let me just get a view of Prashant Mali on that. Can we pressurize Elon Musk and tell him that, listen, your company is being used to put up hoax calls and try and cripple the Indian aviation space? You can't do business in India with one company and allow this disruption with another of your own.
Arnab, there is a concept of abetting the crime. So when you know that these handles are spreading and causing loss to a country, and still if you're not listening and you're not putting the handles down, then there is abetment of crime. Abetment of crime is same as the punishment is same as the crime. If we are putting certain sections of UAPA, the BNS or the Disaster Management Act on the culprits or the unknown culprits, the same sections can be put on Twitter, and we can actually call the CEO of the Twitter for investigation also, because if there is no response, because Indian they don't respond. So I think we should make a case for creating deterrence amongst the minds of this social media, significant social media intermediaries. We need to do one or two cases like this, when we actually call them and show them that law does this.
I totally agree with you. I'll wrap this up here. Thank you very much, Mr. Mali, Mr. Dubey, and Kanish Gaur for joining us. Big story of the day, and I'll only share this with you that our special investigating team is working on more leads, but we do not want to put out any information right now in the public space which will compromise the investigation. So we'll share the leads as and when we feel it's appropriate. Debate 2 tonight.